What's going on, everybody? Kalipis Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 more tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A23. Now before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and other tips and tricks videos for it as well. But with that being said, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is how you can update your NFC settings. Now, in case you don't know, NFC is the technology behind contactless mobile payment services like Google Pay, Samsung Pay, all that. And in reality, the way NFC is set up on this phone, you're probably never going to need to touch these settings, but in case you do, I'm going to show you how to get to them. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the settings menu. From here, go to connections, and from here, go to NFC and contactless payments. As you can see, by default, it is going to be on. If you ever want to turn it off for whatever reason, maybe you never ever use it and you want to save as much battery as you can, then you can turn it off. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if it even uses any more battery, but if you really want to, you can always turn it off. Now to update your contactless payment settings, go to contactless payments. And as you can see here, Google Pay is the default, but if you have any other contactless payment services you use, like Samsung Pay for example, or I have Amex Pay right here, you can change the default to that, or you can also toggle on Pay with Currently Open App, and this is useful if you use several different types of payment services, and you want to be able to frequently switch between them. But like I said, except for that specific situation, you probably won't have to mess with the NFC settings more than once. The next thing I'm going to show you is some settings for your screenshots. Now, taking a screenshot, in case you don't know, is a really easy thing to do. All you need to do is press the power key and the volume down key at the same time like this. And that's pretty much it. This little bar is going to show up and the screenshot's going to be saved right to your photos. But there are some settings on this phone you can change. So to get to these settings, again, we're going to go to the settings menu. From here, go to advanced features. And from here, go to screenshots. So we got a few different options here, maybe not as many options as some of the higher end Samsung phones, but we definitely do have a couple things. First thing is the screenshot toolbar. As you saw, that's that little bar that shows up down here after you take a screenshot. In case you missed it, I'll show you one more time. Down here, this is the screenshot toolbar, but if you don't want that to show up, you can toggle this off. And now when you take a screenshot, it's not going to show up again. The other thing you can do is hide status and navigation bars. So if we do this, I'm going to go to the home screen, take a screenshot. Now if I go to the photos, as you can see here, there's no status bar and no navigation bar. So this is really nice if you want to take a really clean, more professional looking screenshot. Maybe you're using it for something specific, whatever the case may be, unless you're specifically trying to show the status bar or the navigation bar. I think it's a lot nicer to have them hidden when you're taking a screenshot. And the other thing you can do is delete shared screenshots. Now, as you probably noticed, with all those screenshots I just took, they do kind of start to add up. And if you're just taking a screenshot to send to someone real quick and you're never going to look at it again after that, it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense to even have it in your photos. So deleting shared screenshots is going to delete it as soon as you send it to whoever you're sending it to, or however you end up sharing it, and that's going to help you keep the clutter out of your photos. Now the last thing on this list is the screenshot format. Now you're probably not going to have to use this too often, but basically what it does is allows you to change the screenshots from a JPG to a PNG. Now again, there's probably a couple specific situations where this might make sense, but for most cases, the default JPG is probably going to be perfectly fine, but just know that if you want to change it to a PNG, you always can. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is a really fast and convenient way to turn your screen on and off. To activate these features, we're going to go to settings, go to advanced features. From here, go to motions and gestures, and turn on double tap to turn on screen and double tap to turn off screen. Now with these features on, it's pretty simple. All you need to do to turn off your screen is double tap on the home screen. And to turn it back on, do the same thing. And there you go, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty cool feature, not really a game changer or anything like that, but definitely a nice one to have. It's not that easy to trigger it by accident, so it really doesn't hurt to have it on. Now the next thing I want to show you is pretty similar to this actually, and this feature is called Lift to Wake. So it's going to be back in that same gestures menu, but in case you missed it, let me show you how to get there one more time. So we're going to go to settings. From here, go to advanced features. And from here, go to motions and gestures, and Lift to Wake is right here. So now with this feature on, basically whenever you pick up your phone, it's automatically going to turn on the display. So let's try it out. Display is locked. There we go. One more time. And there we go. So as you can see, it works really well. And again, it's not going to make a huge difference on the phone's performance, but it's definitely one of those nice little details to have. The next thing I'm going to show you is dark mode. Dark mode is a pretty cool feature. Pretty much everybody knows about it, but in case you don't, it basically changes the color of your theme from light colors to dark colors. Pretty simple and just as easy to activate. All you need to do is go to settings. From here, go to display. And dark mode is right here. So this is dark mode, pretty cool, but I personally don't really like to have it on during the day. It's just really not my style, but luckily, if you're like me and don't want it on at the day but might like it at night, there is a way we can make this happen. So if you go to dark mode settings, you can actually schedule it to turn on and off. You can have it go from sunset to sunrise, or you can create a completely custom schedule. The next thing I'm going to show you is a feature called one-handed mode. One-handed mode is a really convenient feature that shrinks the display down to a smaller size so you can more easily use your phone with one hand. So let me show you how it works. We're going to go to settings. From here, go to advanced features. And one-handed mode is right here. So before I show you how it works, let's check out some of the settings we can change. So tap on one-handed mode like this. And as you can see, by default, it is activated with a gesture. So basically like this. But you can also have it activate by double tapping the home button. But essentially, this is one-handed mode. As you can see, it starts out on the right side of the screen, but we can change that with this little arrow right here. You can also resize it. But essentially, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it really does make it easier to use the phone with one hand. I don't know how often you're actually going to use this feature, but it is for sure a nice one to have. Now when you're done with one-handed mode and you want to go back to normal, getting out of it is really easy. Just tap anywhere on the outside and it's going to return back to its normal size. Now another thing I want to point out real quick, this might be kind of obvious to some people, but in case you're new to smartphones, if you have gesture navigation, you can only use the gesture. You obviously can't use the buttons because there's no home button when you have gesture navigation. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to open your Google Assistant. This is another pretty easy thing to do. All you need to do is press the home button and hold it, and it's going to open right up. Now if you have gesture navigation, you might be wondering, without a home button, how do you do this? This is a little bit trickier at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's still pretty easy. What you're going to do is put your finger on a bottom corner. It doesn't matter if it's left or right, just as long as it's a corner. Hold it down for a second and drag it right towards the middle, and it's going to open just like normal. And again, you can do this with either side. So if we go like this, it's also going to open. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to customize your quick menu. Now, if you've seen my other tips and tricks videos for this phone, you've probably seen me use this menu right here. And this menu is really cool. To be perfectly honest, I don't know what the actual official name for it is. I just call it the quick menu, but it could very well be something completely different. But regardless, it's a really cool menu with a bunch of shortcuts to different features. So for example, if you want to go into low power mode, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings are here. You can turn on your mobile hotspot. You can even go into dark mode from here. But in case you didn't know, you can also customize this so you can make sure all the features you actually use are on here. So all you got to do is tap on this plus right here. And now we got two different menus here. On the bottom, these are the features that are already there. And on the top are the features available for you to add. And if you want to add something or remove something, all you need to do is press and hold and drag it to the other side. So if you want to add something, and when you're done, I always say this, be sure to actually hit done. Don't just hit the back button. Otherwise it's just going to cancel and it won't save anything. And also if you want to bring everything back to normal, hit reset and it's going to go right back to how it was. The next thing I'm going to show you is how you can customize your theme. Now you got a couple different options here. The first thing is more related to your wallpaper. So if you press and hold a finger on the home screen like this, you're going to get this menu. From here, go to wallpaper and style. And as you can see, here's the wallpaper, that's all well and good. And then we got the color palette down here. And you can kind of use this to match your color scheme to the wallpaper, just so it looks a little bit better. Now if you really want to customize things, you can change the actual theme itself. And to do this, you're going to go back to that same menu. Again, press and hold your finger on the home screen. But this time, go to themes. And now this is basically going to take you to the theme section of the Galaxy store. So as you can see, there's some really cool things that you can customize here, and it basically changes the entire appearance from the wallpaper to the icons and all the colors, and you really have a lot of options here. Now if you don't want to spend money on this, I don't blame you, I wouldn't either, but don't worry, there are plenty of free themes to choose from. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is how to change your home screen layout. Now I personally really like how the home screen looks right now, but maybe you have a bunch of apps that you use frequently and you don't want to have a bunch of different pages. Maybe instead you want to add an extra column or two. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So we're going to go back to that same menu once more. Again, press and hold your finger on a blank spot on the home screen. From here, go to Settings. And from here, go to Home Screen Grid. Now, as you can see, we got 4 different options here. By default, it's going to be 4x5. You can also do 4x6, 5x5, or 5x6. So if you really want to, you can actually fit a lot more apps on here. But those were 10 more tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A23. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found these tips and tricks useful as well. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and other videos about it on the channel. But that's it for this video. As always, I will see you in the next one.